Hello and welcome to Nerdy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerd Dave, and tonight we're joined by all these fine nerds for some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons with our Dungeons and Delving campaign run by our illustrious Dungeon Master, Nerdarchist Ted. But we also have our friends Bobby Partridge, Carlos Rivera, and Robin in the house. Robin Miller. We're you're going to be able to find all of their information down in the description below. Go check them out, follow them across the interwebs. And check out what they're doing. With that, I'm just gonna throw it to our dungeon master, Nerdarchist Ted.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dungeons and Delving. This is a D&D campaign set in the far-flung future. First and foremost, we use a new skill called Tech. It's an intelligence-based skill, and it has to do with anything involving, all technology. In this setting, the characters took part in a campaign reality show where they delved dungeons to win glory, fame, and prizes. And that was last season. This season, they kind of found themselves stuck somewhere that they weren't really expecting. So I'll roll a d4. And that's Steven, Bobby. Bobby, tell us who you're playing and what you remember from last episode.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Bobby Partridge, and I am playing Burke and Hefty. Burke is a Dwelf Beastmaster Ranger. Dwelf is a Nerdarchy race, and then he also has a Ganchuan companion, which is in the Fantastical Mounts. And he's like a baby Ganchuan, though, because Ted was flexible and let me have a Ganchuan because I thought they were adorable. And then I learned they're like the size of a mountain. So we got like a baby one. And he's like the size of a bear. And I remember last time we left the village because it was not safe. Because we were in the village and we thought everything was cool and we had a little talent show, and then Tabitha showed up and everybody kind of thought that like no enemies could get in the village, and she endangered everybody in the village and made us play the Wheel of Misfortune, and it was like low-key terrible. And then everyone was like asleep after they were rescued, so it was all kind of a thing, and we decided we were going to leave so that we wouldn't have to endanger everybody. And we had some heart-to-heart conversations and some hints about backstories, and I will just leave it there and throw it to Dave.
So I feel like that was more of a recap to the session before, but close enough. You are right. That is why we left the town, but also we didn't feel like we could find any of the answers we needed in the town. And also, since Tabitha can get into town, there was really no point in staying there. And we set out to find the mountains because we feel like that's the area people go to and they disappear. So that's must be where the answers are. We had a swamp appear out of nowhere, and then disappear. We had to fight a chimeric monster, which seems to be a theme around here. And also, I'm playing Enzo Blangeray, a world famous chef, or hopes to be someday. Also a battle master rogue. With that, I will throw it to Carlos.
What is good, internet? My name is Carlos Rivera. I run the Panic Night YouTube channel, and I'm playing Arnold Shortman, a GIF artificer, fighter combo. And the last episode, yes, there's a lot of hints and mention of our place of or domicile, if you will, just being infiltrated, our safety spot, and it really brought my character down to like a moment of crisis. Where he's like, I don't care about things anymore, man. What's the point? Um, but Hefty definitely like helped me out of that one, just kind of keep my head on straight a bit. When out of the blue, a cacophony of a mixture of monsters decided they wanted to play a game of fisticuffs. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Robin.
Yeah, all right. So I will be playing Nebula, once pop star turned tech guru of sorts. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember anything that hasn't already been covered. So
Well,
I'm
there
gonna
wasn't
pass it back to Ted and apologize sincerely.
there is nothing to apologize for. With a 2 hour block, it's not always jam packed with lots of things. There was a lot of inter-party communication that happened last episode. There was definitely a different side of Arnold. He usually, when he leaves town, he's very much focused on safety and the mission, and the fact that he's decided he was going to get drunk while you guys were out on the trail. That kind of shows that Arnold might be, cracking under the pressure of being, in this prison for as long as he has been. And I use that term prison loosely, but to an extent, it's valid. There's only so far that you guys can go, and every day has been a struggle of one kind or another, in and around the vicinity of Castoff.
Didn't a swamp also appear and I almost got eaten by a frog nonsense?
Well, that was the amalgamation creature that was called out, that was part frog hemoth, part Adiug, part Nothic, and part Grick. And all nasty. But the situation is that you guys are trying to make your way towards the mountain range that Dave pointed out, and a swamp had kind of appeared and kind of grew in front of you that this creature came out of. And then after it was defeated, almost as quickly as it arrived, the swamp was gone. Mountain range never seemed to change its distance while you guys were doing all of this. And as it looks now, the mountain range is looming in the distance as you're heading off in that direction.
You know what? One thing that I'm remembering from the recap is that since all these are combination of monsters, there's no way we can metagame this stuff. So that's also fun.
Well, that is an aspect of how I run a lot of games. Not that I'm expecting players to metagame, but I enjoy creating monsters. So there's not a whole lot of meta for things that I'm making up. So as you guys are continuing your trek towards the mountains, I assume that Burke is still being the one navigating.
He is our ranger.
I assume. I do like to go on the range and range.
So what is the marching order? Are you walking side by side, single file? What does this look like?
So I guess, as we kind of talked about before, we were kind of like staggering and enough to like not be in the perfect lightning bolt formation. Maybe, someone's on the edge of the fireball if they cast fireballs. So we kind of spread ourselves out a little bit is what I was thinking.
Whatever the formation is, I know Arno's taking the rear. So if there is a rear to be had, that's where he's at.
Yeah, and I would be probably second position.
Yeah, I think Burke is up front, riding on Hefty.
Right, so we gotta, despite the lightning bolt formation of spell, you guys are in a jagged line, if you will, which would prevent all of you from being the target of a single lightning bolt. Amusing that you are worried about that.
I mean, we've encountered at least 2 things now that are mixed with Bayhirs, so I don't think it's like out of the realm of possibility.
Sure,
Who would lightning bolt the party 3 times in a row?
The fact that he laughed and did not deny it.
All right. Well, I can tell you there's nothing be here planned tonight. If that makes you feel any better.
No.
We've moved on to blue dragons.
I mean, I have a blue dragon close by.
Oh my.
I mean, we're not using maps and minis in this game anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Doesn't
You don't
matter.
get
So-
the satisfaction of the pong.
I love that. I love that feeling.
So,
And
how long have we been traveling so far?
So it has been probably, it was like a good six hours last session of travel, and you guys have probably traveled, another hour or so, since you left the fake swamp.
So, like,
Now,
sorry.
I was just gonna like the day cycle seems fairly normal here.
It does, and you guys left fairly early, so you still have handful of hours of sunlight. Should you decide you wish to press on.
So, can I ask what the terrain looks like? Because we know we're in a simulation. That's been established. Is it the kind of thing where we're like Pokemoning this, where the tiles for the mountains and the tiles for the grasslands are literally just next to each other? Or is this a gradual change like in actual nature?
So far you haven't made it close enough to the mountains to know exactly what that's going to be. But in the terrain differences where you have seen, it has seemed to more mimic what you see in nature.
Okay.
But like last session, when it wanted to change, it did change, and the swamp just kind of filled up the land before it went back into the dry grasslands. It is hard packed soil. You are definitely feeling it on your feet with a long march. You don't have the shade that you would have from sparse trees, so it is just sun battering down upon you, but it's not like you're dealing with summer heat, so it's not killing you, but it is certainly impacting.
Mm-hmm.
It's muggy.
Yuck.
Now, this might just be the ranger in my character. What color are the mountains?
Brown?
Well, so, like, you know how, like, sometimes in the distance mountains can look blue, and that means, like, it's probably, like, misty, or there's, like, a lot of water, or if they're, like, yellow or orange, then it's more arid there. Like, I'm wondering, like, what these mountains kind of look like. Are they forested, or do they look barren or bare? Are they craggy? Do they have caves? Like,
so you would probably view them as barren, as they're brown and gray, as if it is dirt and stone.
okay.
Now it's possible from the other side there's foliage there, but you aren't seeing grass and trees sprouting from it.
Okay. Okay, so we're not dealing with, like, a forested mountain range. That helps. Because I'm trying to think, like, even in terms of, like, what you would find, like, what could ambush us, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think along that line.
Sure. So are you continuing forward? Are you setting camp? What are you doing?
I think Burke would look to Arnold for this answer because Arnold's kind of been the pace setter. And he just had a whole conversation with everybody about how he thought Arnold would make a good leader.
Oh yeah, I forgot that happens. Oh.
My characters are just secretly determined to always make Carlos's characters the leader of everything.
much. I keep pulling it back in. So as I see you approach, I'm like, oh yeah, what's the?
So, question for you then. What should we do as far as when we should make camp, and where do you want to make camp? Those mountains don't have a lot of trees, so that doesn't mean a lot of tree cover. Probably also means there's may or may not be rivers involved.
I mean, my first thought would be to not wander too far from Castle, but because we're as safe as we set ourselves up at this point, we need to mask our smells.
Oh, well, we could do that pretty easily then. We just need to find a near body of water and get Hefty wet, and then we will rub ourselves with his wet fur.
And that is going to mask our scent. Are you sure it's not just going to make us smell like wet Ganchuan?
Oh no, it will make us smell like wet Ganchuan, but Ganchuans do not have many predators.
That's what we're banking on.
I thought we were.
All right, let's go. I hate this. She's gonna like take the wig off and like pack it away.
Has Nebula taken off the wig ever?
No.
There's a first time for everything.
What's underneath?
Oh, she's shaved. She wears wigs. She just doesn't like with hair. Like who has time to wash that? And if you wear wigs, it can be any length you want at any time.
That's fair.
True.
All right. Well, let's try to find a body of water then, I suppose. And Ted, may I try to locate us a body of water?
Sure. Give me a survival check.
Okay. That's 11 plus 8. 19.
All right. It takes a while, and it is not a very large body, but you're able to find, a small pond, and like you probably took an hour to go locate this, and it's not in the direction that you were heading, but you were able to find it.
Okay. So I will proceed to have Hefty get in the water, and then I'll just kind of like brush him like I do and use all the excess, like pile it in a pile, and then kind of let people have at it. And Burke will go over and start like just rubbing it all over himself, like make himself a giant mustache out of wet Ganchuan fur.
All right. So does anyone else partake in wet Ganchuan odor?
I mean, he is our ranger.
Let me make a bonobo roll.
He's got to know about these things. Wait and see if Nebula does it.
Okay, it was a 19, which means I have to do the sensible thing and listen to the ranger, and she is making a face the entire time.
All right. Any artists out there, that want to fan art this moment, that would be awesome.
Enzo's not going to do it. You know why? Because if they all do it, their stench is going to mask my smell without me getting Ganchuan on me.
You cannot have herd immunity for gargantuan, so no, I'm grabbing you and pulling you into this fur party.
Oh.
Yeah,
So I guess I get
What
it unconsensually.
I was gonna ask what I had to roll to grapple.
Well, Dave conceded for scene amusement.
Yeah.
Hey Arnold, how about you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, why would I not? Yeah.
So you guys as darkness begins to fall in the area, the hour to find and then it takes a long time to brush out a bear-sized Gantuan. So darkness is descending as a lot of you now are scented with wet Gantuan.
Now we won't have any predators come looking for us unless they're sent by Tabitha.
What are the chances that'll happen?
Actually, surprisingly likely, I would imagine, given our track record.
So do you continue on?
Well, we have a body of dirty water that we can now stake out as our own.
Oh, none of us took fresh water before we decided to.
I would imagine those of you that desired water would have probably grabbed it before
The bath.
The Gantuan decided to soak in it.
Although it is kind of funny to think that we all just look at it afterwards and go, "Oh, we could have filled our water bottles, our wineskins." This is probably a good place to set up camp. What do you think?
Seems as good as any other right now.
I mean, if I was going to go camping, I'd want to do it next to a stream.
So, should we maybe set up a watch then?
That seems like the prudent thing.
So what is your watch order?
I will take last watch so I can make breakfast for everyone.
I'll take first.
I can go just before Enzo, so that way I can get up for the sunrise and do my morning ritual.
All right, so that leaves Nebula at second.
Sounds good to me.
Forget about Burke. I mean,
Load faster.
I'm sorry. I keep mishmashing your characters. Hefty Burke.
Yeah.
Hefty is the gargantuan.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Hefty is the Gantuan and Burke is the Dwelf.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, now I just picture Arnold being like, "I always mix up your names."
No.
And then Burke will kind of like pat him on the back and be like, "That's okay. I'm the one with the enormous white mustache."
As you're both covered in gargantuan hair.
Yeah.
Of course.
Hefty also has a huge white muzzle.
So, Enzo, as you set up your bedroll, whatever it is that you have here that is functioning as such, and you pack down as Arnold prepares to keep watch. What does your routine look like?
I don't think he has much of a routine for bed. He just kind of like lays his stuff out and plops into his bedroll and goes to sleep.
So what does Enzo either think about to try and drift off to sleep, or what
He recites recipes to himself.
he recites recipes?
1 cup of garlic, 2 chopped tomatoes.
1 cup of garlic to 2 chopped tomatoes is
I
wild.
don't know. Man.
Well, it depends upon what else you're putting in there. I mean, a cup of garlic is a lot, but I mean, if it's going into a massive recipe that he's catering for, maybe not so much. Might be light
fair.
on the tomatoes, but maybe that's whatever.
That's fair. Bless Robin.
So whatever recipe you start thinking of, it just happens to be something that you've made while you were within the house, that you and the other contestants were sharing while you were on the show. So as you start going through the ingredients, it pulls you in the direction of a time that you were making one of these, sets of treats to give to your companions. So it's not unheard of that you find yourself, in the house,
Uh-huh.
and you see yourself kind of, preparing the ingredients. As you look around, you can see some of some of your team doing the things that they would typically be doing, and sitting kind of in her usual spot, sword nowhere to be seen, the talisman in her hand. You see Tabitha.
Hey, Tabitha, what's going on? Because I'm in the house dreaming, right? I'm dreaming I'm in the
Yep.
house.
Yep.
What's up, Tabitha? You got some ideas for a new prank?
If only it was a prank. I wish that there were an easier way to do this.
Do what? We're gonna win. I mean, there's no chance. There's no chance. After we caught the flumps cheating, we got this in the bag.
She grabs just something off of the counter. Maybe it's like a wooden spoon or whatever, and she just snaps it and tosses it aside. And as soon as it's kind of out of the field of view, you don't even take note. You don't even hear the wooden spoon pieces clatter on the floor. I want out.
You went out. I mean, we'd be sad to see you go, but we could probably find someone else to join the competition if we had to. I mean, you've been a valuable member of the team. We love your talisman.
You need to think, Enzo. You're out of sorts.
What do you mean? Like, do I have any kind of like time frame, like when this is happening in my mind?
So in your mind, this would be, towards the later end of where the competition is. Um, you know, but it's, even though it's breaking that, like, you still are you. You have a sense of what's going on within both, if you want to call it, realities.
Wait a minute. This isn't now. This is then.
This isn't then, it's kind of now, but that's the only way that I can. And you can see that she is taking efforts to communicate, as if there's some kind of restriction or barrier,
Mhm.
through like, even speech is being a problem for her.
You're trapped like us. Who's 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 faux Tabitha then?
She just points to herself.
They're making you do it though. I started to believe it was really you. Nebula was right. Am I gonna remember this when I wake up? Then I pinch myself.
You can feel the pinch, as if like you were doing it, but it doesn't blink you out. And she quickly mutters, and with each word you can see uh like intense pain, kind of rip through her, grimacing. uh and she says, another one is coming tomorrow before she kind of like collapses, and then you wind up waking up for your shift.
So whoever is immediately around me, do I remember the dream?
Yeah.
All right.
So it would be Burke. He was
Burke.
on.
I grabbed Burke by the face,
Hello.
and I'm like, Nebula was right. Tabitha's trapped inside of Tabitha, and it's going, and another one's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what that part means.
Oh. Nebula's usually
Or it's going to
right.
happen again tomorrow. I don't know. It's very confusing. I was dreaming. We're back in the house. It was Tabitha. I thought we were planning a prank, but she said we weren't. You know how Tabitha used to go into people's dreams and mess with them?
Yes, I do recall that.
She did it to me, but she wasn't
Oh
really
my.
messing with me. I think she was asking for help.
What does she need help with? Cooking?
I mean, I would be the right person to go to for that. But no, I think she needs help because she's trapped inside of Tabitha.
She's trapped inside herself?
Yeah, they're making her do it.
It's the geese. I mean the geese. The goose?
It could be a geese.
The magic goose.
I don't know. We're gonna have to talk to Nebula about this.
About the goose or about the dream?
Yes.
That sounds smart. Shouldn't we do it before everything happens tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe she'll know what that means.
Do you think she'll be mad if we wake her up? I don't think she's very happy with me as it is because of the wet fur hair.
Well, I mean, we gotta do it.
Okay. Hey, Arnold! Get up! Tabitha! It's a whole thing! Nebula! It's about Tabitha! Get up!
And it's like from straight down to just like bolt upright, and you see that anime flash in her eyes for a moment.
And Burke
Complete
like
opposite.
freezes. Hello.
I'm going to splash some water on my face and wake myself up. Give me 2 minutes, and then you may continue. And she does, and then she comes and sits over.
Okay, there's your audience, Enzo.
All right, and I just tell you everything I just told her.
I knew it.
So how do we fix it?
I need to get a look of where they're keeping her.
Well, they're keeping her in her. I think Tabitha's trapped inside of Tabitha.
It's the goose. The geese. The geese.
Whatever. I'm more concerned about that ominous warning about another one's coming tomorrow soon, as I try to discern what time it could possibly be.
It is very early morning.
Uh, Technically today. Yeah, I'm very concerned.
Well, things are concerning.
I mean, how did the show used to do things? Do they still do the tri-weekly schedule, or did they change it?
So wait a minute. Let's think here. Forget the show for a second. But she said it's going to happen again tomorrow. Does that mean someone else is going to come? Is there going to be another Trent staff made into another world. What is the thing that's going to happen again? Is someone going to die
Can
again? Is she going to
can
die again? Because she died before.
if you don't mind me, can I make an intel? I think I'm piecing. I think Carlos is piecing the pieces together, but like, can Arnold make an intelligence check?
What are you looking to do? What are you looking to figure out?
So back in Arnold's day, things ran on a tri-weekly schedule, right? And things seem to be happening once every other thing. So it's like, I'm trying to see discerning if there's some sort of pattern or connection between the fact that our misery's being broadcasted and something's happening tomorrow, nothing happened yesterday type deal.
So the options as you would gather based on that of either there's going to be some other kind of attack on the village, there could be an attack on you guys, or you could be pulled into another another show, if you will, another challenge, as the term has been kind of begun being used. But those would be, without needing a check, those would be things that you would have evidence. If there's a worry, those would be it.
So I'll just say to everyone, like, I mean, everything is just happening too neat of a bow. Like, all this is being orchestrated by some sick human or thing or creature out there. Like, we're these attacks can't be random. The games can't be random. Whatever it is, it's happening today.
Well, as of yet, we haven't been able to stop it from happening or even know when it's coming.
No, yeah, but your dreams, they're the first glimpse, insight into this.
Wait a minute. Here's a thought. And I could be way off. I might be way off. And then he leans in even closer and gets even quieter to whisper. And he says, if Tabitha approached you in your dreams, maybe that's because it's a place that's safe. They want to entertain people with what is happening to us in here. So if we want to keep the village safe, then maybe we need to make sure that whatever's happening with us is more entertaining than slaughtering a village.
Well, back in my day, I did an impressive William Tell trick. If anyone wants to volunteer.
What was the trick?
I mean, place an object on the head and skillfully, with much precision, knock it right off. But I could probably knock it off your nose if you lay it down in a certain particular angle. Believe me, it's safe. It's harmless. It's harmless.
I wish we had a way to psychically communicate. That would be very useful right now. Does anybody else speak sign language?
I can't say I do.
No, I was just checking my spell list for telepathic bond. I do not have it.
But do you have tongues?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I do not.
I would have had a thought.
Not that kind of a bard.
Well, here's the thought. I get you drunk enough where you think you can speak tongues.
Oh, wait. I might be able to
I
do a
think all
weird
bards
thing.
speak tongues, right?
I might be able to do a weird thing. I want to see something. Oh, darn. This is only self. That's only self. That doesn't help.
What is it?
So what I was thinking was if I could cast Speak with Animals on myself and then communicate a message to Hefty and then cast Speak with Animals on someone else, then Hefty could communicate the message as a Ganchuan. And we could speak covertly.
Sure.
But
Everybody-
I can't do that.
As everyone is kind of barking and growling, and I don't know what kind of sound Ganchuans make.
Wait a minute. Nebula, you're an elf, right? He says in Elvish.
Something elf adjacent, yes.
And Enzo, you cook elven food. Do you understand what I'm saying right now? Speaking with a thick Minnesotan accent, but still Elvish.
I'm not sure what you're laying down.
Oh. How do you cook elf food if you don't know Elvish? How do you read the recipes?
Oh, I do speak Elvish.
Oh, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
So then,
I mean,
Arnold.
I cook Elvish Dwarven fusion, but I don't speak Dwarvish.
Arnold, do you speak Elvish?
Can't say that I do,
Oh.
but I can speak with thick Brooklyn accent if needed to.
Well, my thought was, if we made an extra step by speaking in a language that not everybody understands, like avoiding common, we might be able to whisper around enough, even though we're being watched, to be able to find a way to make a plan, because they keep getting the jump on us. This is where Nebula and Enzo and Arnold, all of you guys come in. I'm not an idea guy. I just thought that we need an idea.
I think we need to contact Tabitha, but I think the only place she can interact with us is in the dreams. But I don't know anybody that can do that other than Tabitha.
Yeah.
So while you guys are doing that, Arnold says, "I think I need a moment to think." And he kind of walks off. And as you guys are walking off, I'm gonna read my Artificer stuff real fast to see if I can make something. I don't know if I can or can't. But
Or if there's anything useful in your spell list.
oh, there's definitely nothing useful there, man. I mean, at least not now. I haven't finished a long rest, so I can't change shit. But nothing useful now. But I don't know. I'll figure something out if I can do it or not. But please proceed.
I don't know. I don't have any ideas, guys.
So, like, are we allowed to speak out of character for a second?
Absolutely.
So, like, my thought as a player, right, is if we do something to, like, distract what's happening by being really entertaining with, like, an in-party fight or something like that, two of us could split off, Zoo Mafia style, and maybe try to get somewhere they don't want us to be. I don't actually know. This is just lizard brain Bobby going off right now. But in theory, if we had two people doing the distraction bit, well, Zoo Mafia days would seem to indicate that there's something else interesting happening somewhere else that they don't want us to be, and that's exactly where we want to be.
Well, so, I mean, some days it's just a monster shows up. Other days it's the game shows. But when it's the game shows, we have zero agency out and once we're in the show. So I don't know that that's going to do anything. Uh, like we either have to figure out how to not get put into the show first, or I think we're just going to be in the show.
Hmm.
If it's a game show day, and that's the thing,
Oh yeah.
based on our previous experience.
That's true. What level are we? Are
Um,
we 13, by the way?
think that sounds about right.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm right. Hmm. Well, do we want to face the game show day head on?
So, Nebula, why don't you make a intelligence check for me?
Yes, please. 16.
16. So you know that when Nebula has left, that you had seen that there is coding that you witnessed.
Mhm.
If you were attempting to do anything, if it is a game show situation, then perhaps if you were able to be ready and do something when Tabitha would arrive, perhaps you could halt the game if that is something that you were, prepared to do and was able to execute quickly.
I will point that out.
Intriguing indeed. Hmm.
I have a question, Nebula.
Mhm.
This geese spell, right? Let's say, in theory, that somebody put it on you and it ended up on your hand. If you cut off your hand, does that mean that the spell doesn't work anymore?
That is a lot of assumptions, and trying to build a plan around that idea is going to take a lot of information that we don't have and is going to be a massive risk.
So right now the stream is having some issues.
Oh,
Hey Bobby, I just sent you something.
what'd you send me? On chat?
Yeah.
Alright, let me see what it is.
YouTube is making a suggestion as far as the bit rate.
If you guys are watching live or after the fact,
Let me see
bear
if
with
I
us a
can
moment.
mess with it. It's all set to auto. Bitrate. Let's see about. Let's try this. Um. Try that. Did that fix it?
Yeah, says excellent now. So,
Okay. Cool.
so I think you're a genius. All
All
right,
right, we're
continue.
good.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry
Yep,
about
so-
that.
Thanks for sticking with us. Through this little minor hiccup. Technology sucks sometimes, or maybe somebody's trying to get in on our stream.
Oh no, it's a curse that I have. Like it's a me curse because like we have this all the time on Quill and Sword, the other stream I'm part of. Every time, it's just my curse. I'm a jinx.
Excuse me. So what are you guys doing?
I mean, if like, I mean, at this second in time, like, if all we got is just to be prepared, then I might just finish up this long rest, to be honest, and just prepare for whatever the hell is coming at my day. Because if we get attacked right now, I haven't finished the 8 hours to change out spells. So, and I
Yeah,
also,
I think that's where we're at. Finish out the long rest, because I don't know of anything else to do, and we will deal with it as it comes.
yeah, if I gotta think on my
Right.
toes, I want to do it with full spell slots.
I want to spend some time just thinking about what I would need to do to take control of that code and start preparing myself mentally as best as possible. So I probably don't get a whole lot of sleep.
Well, I mean, you've already had, some time. Yeah, you've probably gotten a little over 4 hours. It's slightly disjointed, uh, but it's technically qualifies as rest if you're not doing anything hard. So why don't you give me just a Constitution saving throw and see how that treats you.
I have a point of inspiration.
And do you want to use it on this?
Yes, I do. You
Okay.
don't understand how badly I rolled to begin with. That's going to equal a 10, which is much better than I did to start.
Oh, all right. So with a 10, you're not going to have the point of exhaustion. You're a little groggy. If you had access to some coffee or something, you'd feel a little bit better, but out here in the wilds, it's that's going to be a little bit harder to obtain.
It's okay. I will power through.
I'm pretty sure Enzo has coffee, probably fancy coffee.
Fancy coffee, huh? You haven't used it all already?
Never.
Uh,
We grind new beans when we get to a village.
yeah, just letting everybody know I'm not taking any curing spells right now. That might seem like a throw, but at least be aware. Arnold won't be able to help cure.
Um, that's okay. I can,
Perfect.
because I have levels of cleric.
I can also heal because bards are OP.
I concur.
And
So the morning comes, light shines as Enzo begins cooking breakfast and making some coffee. Nebula, does what she can to prepare as best as possible with your code. So I would like you to give me, 2 tech checks just to see what your preparation looks like as you're trying to extend out this code a little bit.
18. I rolled abysmally.
18 is abysmal.
Uh,
And what is your second one?
24, much more reasonable.
24. So your first bit of getting into this code, uh, you don't have the foundation for what this is. So getting the beginning chunk without any new information is eluding you at the moment. But if you can grapple onto their signal, then you're pretty sure that you've got enough to halt it or to possibly disturb it in some way, depending upon how severe it is and how quickly you can get into it.
Okay.
So you guys have your breakfast, Enzo makes you some coffee to be as alert as possible. Do you guys get up and begin moving towards the mountains, or do you sit and wait for whatever might come your way?
During this entire time, as Arnold's just trying to take whatever pleasure he can out of these artificially generated copies from the area, you guys just see like 1,000 yard stare on him, just like trying to think, and he just quickly asks, "Who's the squishiest here?"
What do you mean by squishiest? Hefty's pretty squishy.
I mean, like, excuse me. Who needs more protection than those? If you have to rate me out of a 20, I'd say I'm about an 18. What would you guys rate yourselves as? Out of a 20.
And
19.
a 14.
Well,
You win.
I don't know what I can do for anyone here, but the first time Tabitha does, if she shows up to mess with us, I'll do what I can to protect you. And I want it to be known to the DM. If this John shows up, I want to use a reaction to cast Shield of Faith on sorry, Nebula.
Okay.
I'm going to give everyone a treat.
Hey.
5 temporary hit points.
Guy.
thank you.
When I cast Shield on Faith on Nebula, it's gonna give you 2 extra AC for about 10 minutes.
Awesome.
As long as I maintain concentration. So if I lose that, John, my bad.
All right. So what is everybody doing? Are you marching or are you sitting, lying in wait?
I think we should just carry on because why let them dictate to us what we're doing?
Yeah.
Arnold will, if we're going through a marching order, feeling slightly bit more resolved. He takes up the rear again, but not as someone second guessing himself. Anyone noticing can definitely see that like he has a bit more resolve and like, nah, if anything's coming up from behind, it hits me first. Type deal.
Very cool.
I would like to precast a good berry spell, so I just have a bunch of them already.
All right.
And I will also give each person 1 good berry. So, actually, no, I'll give each person 2. So then that way I will have, like, Enzo will have 2, Nebula will have 2, and Arnold will have 2, and then I will have 4. 2 for me,
Yep.
2 for Hefty.
All right. Yeah, so each of you are, carrying 2 days worth of food and is it 8 hit points?
Yep, 8 hit points.
Yeah, that spell lasts, only 24 hours and then it just becomes a regular berry again.
But they're blueberries this time.
Very important detail.
It is. Blueberries are great.
So as
So they
as the trek continues, the ground still hard and tough below your feet. Wind kind of coming from the side, so it's not halting your presence or hastening you in any way, but it's just kind of buffeting you to your right side. There's no particular scent on the air beyond all of you smelling like Ganchuan at the moment. And then Nebula, go ahead and make me a perception check.
19.
19. As you're kind of lying in wait, whether it is because you had the warning and you're watching for it, or maybe she's just a little bit slower today. There's the flutter of Tabitha's cloak as she kind of appears and does her typical spin of her hand, calling forth the sword, and almost in slow motion to your very watchful eyes, she begins to draw the sword down, and you watch as the sword begins to kind of cut into the reality here before you. What is it that you're doing?
I am paying careful attention to that cut. I am zeroing in on what I know is going to be there so that I can expand my understanding of what is around it, and I'm going to uh try to slip in there and take it.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a tech check and see what that looks like.
13.
13. Your grasp of what's there. You can see more of the code as it's happening, but at the moment you're kind of taken aback because it seems like the code here is like written in multiple layers.
Okay.
Um,
Can I try to assist Nebula?
how are you trying to assist?
Uh, um, I want to. I want to try and distract Tabitha
Okay.
by throwing one of my knives at her sword, trying to interrupt what she's doing.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
A question I have is, I wanted to use a quick reaction to.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. Like,
So a 26, and I want to try a disarming maneuver. I think I have that one. Uh, damn, I do not have disarming, but I still want to try and I want to attack the sword, not necessarily her.
Okay.
Can I use a pushing maneuver to try and push the sword away from her?
Sure. What is your DC? I'll allow your pushing maneuver to kind of be this distraction. Like it's not going to take it out of her hand, but it can possibly disrupt what it is that she's doing at the moment.
It's a strength saving for a DC 17.
Oh man. She failed by one. That's hilarious. So she's bringing the sword down, and the dagger comes in, knocking the sword off its skew. So right now you can see the reality you're in, and there is a purple line drawn in the sky, and you can see where that line is as reality begins to kind of bend, like it's starting to fall, and you can see that there is a bit of a stage behind it. And she kind of like looks back in your direction, and readies the sword again, as she's about to bring it back down. So I this is not going to be a typical combat. but I think we'll roll initiative to see, now that things have been distracted, to see if there's anybody that wants to do something, how the flow of stuff is going to go. Does that work?
Sure. Is that enough to give Nebula, I guess, another shot at her tech check?
It depends upon how everybody rolls here.
All right. I have a 7.
So, who-
Well, I mean, I have my own inspiration for that. I think it's actually more
Uh,
important that Nebula goes first.
Yeah.
I would save it for that.
all right. So what do you have, Nebula?
10.
So, how, like, are you saying you want to use your inspiration, to allow them? Sure, you can re-roll, Rob.
Cool. 12.
Uh, and you still don't have Flash of Genius, right, Carlos?
No, I'm about a few levels away.
All right.
You
So
son of a
what
bitch.
what do you have there, Burke?
I got a 15.
All right. So Burke, what are you doing?
I do we see this slash happening in the reality warping happening?
Yeah, they're current, like, Tabitha, is at the moment, the sword is kind of held in the one hand. She's kind of glaring daggers at Enzo, but up above there is a purple tear that is just the width of her great sword. And it is drawn in the sky from pretty much as high up as you can acknowledge. And reality is literally falling from that, but held in place. Like, if you would, then normally when she cuts it, you watch as everything just kind of fades off to the side, but it's stuck there because it's attached to the rest of reality, which hasn't been cut.
Okay, so how far away is that?
I mean, it's, probably 30, 40 feet from where you guys are.
Okay. Can I do something really weird and probably stupid?
You can always try.
I want to throw my Pokeball into the rift and summon Hefty.
You want to throw him into the rift and summon him?
Yeah.
To what end?
Like, she's usually transporting somebody, right? From there.
So real quick,
No.
Ted, is this the vibe that we get that she's trying to suck us into the game,
Yes.
the next game? Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Oh,
you would
I
just be throwing
misunderstood.
Hefty into the place she wants you and Hefty to be.
Oh, I misunderstood then. Well, how does Nebula look?
I mean, she's glaring daggers at Enzo.
Okay, that's good. I would like to prepare a reaction then. Can I do a prepared
Okay.
action?
Sure. What are you holding?
I would like to hold, I don't know what you would call it. I want to distract her. I want to distract, I almost said Tiffany. I want to distract Tabitha. I don't know where Tiffany came from.
I think we're alone now.
I want to distract Tabitha if her focus goes away from Enzo.
Okay. And what action is that? Are you going to cast a spell, make an attack? What?
He will shout Tabitha's name and then shout for her to catch and throw a good berry at her.
Okay.
Are you Dragon Ball Z Krilling in us, man?
No, because here's the thing: your instinct is to want to catch food, right? You don't want it to drop. So I'm hoping she'll instinctively be distracted to catch the food because she knows it's food.
That's a bit of a stretch, but
I know it's a stretch, but I have nothing else. I'm trying to help Nebula do what she's doing because she's our ace in the hole right now.
Arnold, what are you doing?
So we had a turn before things get shenaniganery, like, right?
That is what it appears.
Okay. If I have the opportunity, I'm gonna fire, just fire off a quick shot, attempting to knock Tabitha prone to some extent. So assuming this shot hits, big ass assumption, right? I can
Do you
expend.
do you have any feature that would knock her prone?
Yes,
Okay.
I can expend a grit point, and if she can survive a DC 18 strength save, then she will be knocked prone. Assuming I hit, mind you. Assuming I hit. If I don't hit, then she's fine.
All right. What is your attack roll?
Alrighty. Can she survive a 23?
I mean, that hits her armor class.
Okay. So literally, the idea, I mean, I'm not really concerned about doing damage. It just so happened to be 14 though, but
Yeah, that damage is inconsequential. She doesn't actually take the damage. But you watch as she is literally blasted off of her feet. Almost somewhat comedically, because you know that she is when she appears, she's usually flying on this cloud. So as you knock her feet out from under her, she falls, hits the side of this cloud and lands in a heap to the ground.
In a sniper mark, how's that for the ratings? I'm gonna get killed, yo.
Nebula, you're up. What do you do?
Okay, so is there still anything for me to attempt to grapple with here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Another
the sword is still there. The code is still, in writing.
I try again.
Go for it.
Dirty 20.
All right. So with the dirty 20, you're able to extrapolate that, you out of game and kind of in game, that this is a simulation, and what this sword is doing is essentially taking you from one aspect of this prison, the simulation, into another. And it's affecting the area that's large enough of where you guys are. And once you are moving within the rooms, of this place, the laws change, and it can even change the position of those affected. And just like dealing with planes of existence, sometimes gravity is different, sometimes there is no ground, there is nothing to hold on to, so you just kind of float. You can see that the rules for each thing are there, and you can't understand in the seconds as to how complex all of these things are, so you have to make a snap decision.
Yeah.
In this moment,
this new groin and body.
In this moment, are you looking to do something Oh, I imagine you're trying to do something, but what is that you want to do right here?
Um, okay. What I want to do is limit the access. Like, I want to restrict. I want to limit the access that Tabitha has to altering reality. I want to try and like disrupt what she can do here and what she can do to get back out again later. I want to buy us time.
Okay, so you could basically, you can't get yourselves out from here, but you could disrupt, you know, the transmission, if you will, and block what she's trying to do. Basically kind of dissolve whatever is there, or you could, you know, try to just, put something in the place where maybe this is, you know, something to tap into later. That there's options based off of, what, Nebula sees as possibilities.
Okay.
So what is it that you want to specifically do?
Um, Stop whatever it is that's forming right now from forming and try to get like a
Sure.
more room for us to do what we need to do.
All right, so give me one more tech check.
13. My dice hate me today.
I
Can't
will
win all the
give
time.
Nebula, the giffiest of the gods, protects you. I give you my inspiration.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you. 19.
All right. So as you kind of, hurriedly, use your device, sending the transmission through, through your tech box and amplifying it through, what is it, David and
Ready.
Freddie, thank you. You guys watch as, over Tabitha's head, you watch the purple tear that was happening kind of begin to drip away. And Tabitha, lying on the ground, looks up, and you watch, as she picks up her sword, like it's literally dripping that same purple off of the code, and sorry, the same dripping that's coming from the sky is falling off of her sword, and she changes the look from, you know looking, or she was looking at Enzo, uh but she now looks to Tabitha. Give me a perception check.
12.
Well, so you don't quite see, um but for the audience, there's just the hint of a smile before it turns to a glare. And she takes one look at the lot of you, spins her sword, and as she begins to vanish, as a cloud kind of scoops her up, uh crap. I need all of you to make, of course that wasn't going to give me what I wanted. Let's say dexterity saving throws, but that's might not be it. If I'm right, then you'll have had the right thing. But
I wish I'd never gave you that inspiration now, Robin. Damn it. 9.
27.
24.
27 on a dexterity save?
Hold on. Did I
Holy
click the
crap.
wrong button? No, it's a 27. I not 20.
Nice.
I got a 26. I got a 19.
24, and I will give my inspiration to Arnold.
My guy!
All right, don't fuck it up this time, all right?
I'll try not to, boss. Oh, fuck yes, 23! I think it's the lowest out of all of us, but fuck it. I'll take it.
All right.
It was that extra pep in the coffee. Then oh, wait a minute.
All right. So what was the lowest?
I think it was mine, 23.
23 was the low? Nice.
I just don't want to fail, dog. If there's penalty for being last, it's fine, man. But like, I just don't want. Failing is worse.
So you nimbly step aside as a blade drops down, kind of mirroring Tabitha's greatsword. So you take half damage, which is 13 slashing, unless one of you has got enough rogue levels to have evasion.
No, it's just artificer fighter for me. But
One trick pony, I mutter as I step aside.
but I do gotta make a con check. My dear Nebula.
So you guys were able to avoid Project Gunway.
Oh man, I feel like Arnold would be disappointed if he knew that. That sounds like right up his alley.
Oh my gosh. I love Project Runway. I'm so sad we don't get to do it now. What have we done? What have we done?
We averted disaster, but at what cost?
Right.
So it was a literal runway full of guns firing at you and some other things going on, and
That is the gippiest
Is
thing
that
I
what
heard.
Project Runway is like?
No.
No,
Wow.
Project Runway is modeling competition. I just stole the name because Gunway sounded kind of cool, and we had an artificer. So
Listen, man. Yes, deep down inside, if Arnold knew that, he would be totally bummed out as hell. But I'll be bummed for him. On the other hand, guys, we did good averting that crisis, didn't we?
We did.
We did
Nebula,
something.
You were great.
Not over yet.
Oh,
Oh.
what you mean? Shit, I think
I
you're
mean, we
right.
still need to figure out what's going on with her.
That's true.
I still think the answers will be in the mountains.
So what, do we just take her with us to the mountains?
I think
she left.
I think she's going to
Oh.
be there. Like I
Okay,
think
well,
everything's
then-
going to be there.
Then it seems like that's the place to be, doesn't it?
Because I don't think they want us to go there. Right? If what you're saying is true, then wouldn't there have to be some kind of like command center?
Yeah. You're right.
So maybe the command center is in the mountains? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they've got to run this show from someplace.
And that's why
I
they don't
mean-
want us to go.
Just think of all the power it would take.
I mean, this is. I mean, I've been here for a while, but no one has ever come back. But if we could, this is the first time, though. I mean, yes, there's a lot of firsts been happening around here. First time we've been attacked in our own dwelling, but this is the first time I've ever heard someone avoiding a show. I think we could do this, guys.
That's what we've been telling you all along, Arnold. You just gotta believe. I mean, we did win Dungeons and Delving after all.
Yes, of course.
We also met the Dungeoneer.
We did. He was great.
And we made Chef Bob look bad.
That was also fun.
Well, if there's anything that can be done, I mean, it hasn't been apparent by now. I put my faith implicitly with this group. You guys aren't Galleon gifts, but we're something better. A mosh podge of different races put together, like a bunch of chimeras.
Sensational chimeras.
Sensational indeed.
So what is the
You go ahead.
what is the of the lot of you as you continue your trek towards the mountains, which are getting ever closer?
So I can't lie to you till you kind of cut off in like 5 seconds
Oh,
at the important bit in the beginning. Blankety blank. The lot of you, I'm like, man, I was waiting for someone else to jump in, but I'm like, you know what? And then
so what is the mood of the party as you head off towards the mountains as it gets, ever closer?
Oh, confident for Arnold. Like there's extra hippity hop in his step.
Optimistic.
Determined.
Nebula?
Just another step. Resolve.
Resolve.
Got my stage
Okay.
face on.
So each of you is coming at this from a different perspective, a different point of view. You see the mountains, and they are literally there before you. The base coming into view. You can see left for whoever to find. Skeletons stripped of whatever they once had, left in whatever dying pose. There's a handful of them at the base of the mountains. The town has kind of told you there's lots who have come before. There's plenty of folk who have left and never come back. But those specifically who have come to the mountains have not returned. There's no flesh, there's no gear. No one knows exactly, what caused these beings to die, but they have been left there in testament to the danger that is these mountains.
Arnold will, if like, not to get ahead of a ranger and do whatever, but like Arnold points past that way. Chimeras, home is just past that ridge. We just got to get there.
Hopefully it's not our eternal home. Verk says, glancing at the skeletons.
Hey, one way or another, it'll be over. I would rather before y'all came around, I would have wasted my life around here, not even considering a way out. I would rather go down fighting for every inch than just wasting away.
Yeah, it's fair.
Did you guys begin circling the base of this thing, starting to climb your way to the top? What is the thought patterns here?
Nebula, what do you think we should do? You're the tech expert, and we're in a simulation right now.
I think we should just be keeping our eyes open for details. And I'm like trying to scan as we go and keep an eye on like what's going on, you know?
Do we
Like-
see like caves or anything like that?
At the moment, no.
Can we discern what happened to these that came before us? I think we should start there, investigating the corpses or the skeletons.
That's smart.
Is any of you proficient in medicine?
I mean, although I'd be like that. I know the residents here for like the last 2 years. I'm assuming I'm aware of these
Sure.
folks. I'm like, oh shit, we lost, you know, XYZ creature like X years ago. Like shit, he's here.
I'm half proficient in medicine.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you're a bard, so you
I
are
am a bard.
proficient.
All right, so if you want to make a half proficient check of medicine and see if there's any information you can glean, feel free to give it a shot.
I nat 20'd again for 22. Apparently my dice have forgiven me for whatever slight I befell them.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So, as you begin looking, a bunch of the skeletons, you begin looking at the bones. You know that most things are going to cause external damage, and it will cause the creature to bleed out. But even with that, there are usually going to be some markings on the bone. You have to look at where vital parts are, which requires you to know anatomy to say, okay, well, is there anything in and around the ribs or the neck or the thigh or the underneath the arm, to see if there were claw marks or crushing or slashing, piercing, where just the slightest little indication of what caused this. And most of the bodies show zero signs of physical damage. There are 2 bodies that have just the faintest bit of what you would gather to either be like multiple strikes or probably claw marks that happen to go across the front of the rib cage. But the other, 4 to 8 bodies that are strewn about have no damage to what's visible. So that kind of check would mean either something affected them so greatly that they expired all at once, that didn't cause any outward harm. That there are some magical effects that can just wipe away the life from something. And while it's incredibly rare, there are other effects that can, cause someone to die from fright or die from starvation or exposure that wouldn't have these kind of effects. But the options are many without any other external clues. If you look at the fact that there are several that did die from something physical or that added to the fact, you're not really sure. Um, because there could be multiple culprits here. If this is indeed the center, or the epicenter of what is going on, then it's probably well guarded, and that could mean multiple things. So whether it's added more confusion or made things better, that's entirely, up for you to decide. But it takes a little while to examine each of these, 10 skeletons with a you know a fine-tooth comb or whatnot.
Do I see any evidence that these were grown?
That the skeletons were grown, like that they're not
Yeah,
real.
I mean, like I'm looking at this, I'm not seeing any evidence on the bones that the bones were like sheared from meat anywhere. So I want to check them for the hallmarks of being grown in a lab.
You do not find any evidence of that.
Okay, I point that out as well.
These do appear natural.
So you're basically saying, Nebula, that they just decided to die, just sit there, lay down their lives to whatever the great, I was gonna say world, but cyber world or whatever the hell this place is.
There sure
Well-
isn't a sign of a struggle.
I ask,
Except for the ones that were stabbed and bashed and
I mean, yeah.
sliced. So it appears
look
he
at-
died a lot of different ways, is what you're saying.
Yes.
but
I have a question. How long do we think it would take us to actually go through these mountains?
I mean, it's a fairly decent sized mountain. If you can find, some kind of entrance, the caves could be small and it could be just a handful of rooms, or it could be an exhausting, could take you, weeks to search through all of the interior if the mountain would be equatable to a building.
So, did any of you got like magic that lets you locate things or objects or stuff or power or energy?
I do today, actually. I thought we might need it to track Tabitha's sword. But I can look for something, so I have a couple of ideas. One is I could look for Tabitha's sword. I could look for a secret door, or I could look for traps.
So, all right.
against my better judgment, I chose spells this morning that may help out in a game, but maybe tomorrow I'll be able to help you locate magical items, but I can't do that now, unfortunately.
Maybe if you work with Nebula to figure out, right? Like this place is tech, right? Like this is all just a skin. Well, sometimes I know spells have a short range, but what are some things that would have to be like facing outward in order for that tech to work? Maybe we trace them and we can find them and we can follow them back to the source. Like a cell tower or something. The Wi-Fi, I don't know, a router. Does it need an antenna?
The modem?
Well,
Is there a
Nebula?
TV antenna up there somewhere?
Get the day mark going. I mean, oh lord, I love this. I would love to bring my out-of-game knowledge into this ship, but man, I chose the wrong character. I chose the wrong character for that shit.
Well, you can feed your out-of-game knowledge to Robin,
Yeah.
who has the in-game knowledge.
Here. Take the nebula mouthpiece for a moment. Go for it.
Nebula mouthpiece.
Yeah, like go ahead, like
Yeah,
talk.
what would Nebula need to look for that might be close to the exterior?
I mean, I don't want to sound like a thunderhead, but like you would definitely need like a large power source to some extent.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but here's the thing: if it's whatever's buried deep in the mountain, you can't find a locate object because that's like 1,000 feet. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So what you
you
need
would,
is
you would need a clear. You would need at least a clear path to a large power supply. AKA,
Well,
whenever they install internet, they do it
you,
through the internet, the electrical routes.
you guys know what the power source is.
oh, tree face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
You're right. Let's just go back and kill that fucker and end the whole thing.
Oh my God.
no, that's not what Carlos was suggesting. Shit, my bad, yo.
Sacrifices had to be made.
But he clearly points. I'm sorry, for mouthpiecing, but like, yeah,
No, Robin gave you the mouthpiece.
okay, that is what's needed. A power supply.
Okay, well then so that but what that he's the power source, right? Well, that power source has to be fed to them in order for them to manipulate the power and use that energy to do a thing. So how do we trace the power source
Oh, easy.
to the
Clear
control
path.
panel?
Easy, clear path. I hope my instructors are watching and just grade me based off what the fuck I'm saying. But yeah, so basically you just need a clear path, aka sometimes it's fiber, sometimes it's wire, copper, coaxial, aka whatever the hell is used for TV, yada yada yada. Bang bang chuburo.
Yeah, that's partly
what
why
it
I was
is.
asking if the mountains were forested, because I knew that he was the power source and he's a tree. So my thought is magically, like technobabble, magic babble, is the root network would be the ideal way to do that. But these mountains are not forested. So it's not that, at least.
Can I mouthpiece one more time? Just is that okay, Robin?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Look around you. There's nothing but foliage around. Any path and every path could be a link to Treebeard. He is one with the earth, is he not here? Point is, this side may not be it. Do you see how it's clear? Who knows what the other side looks like? But still.
Are there plants around here? Like, or is it really just barren?
It's not completely barren. There is sparse foliage.
Mm-hmm.
This whole journey has been, dealing with, hard packed earth and very very little in the way of plants.
Okay. So could I... Is there a plant nearby that seems like it would have a deep root system nearby?
Nothing that looks like it would have a deep root now.
Okay.
No weeds.
Weeds don't have deep roots. They're usually, easy to, yeah, or at least the ones here don't.
Or invasive species. Is there any invasive species? Because those usually have like root systems that go out, but they're pretty shallow because they all connect back to like a central hub. And they just branch out from them, like ivy or irises. Sorry, I'm a plant nerd too. Like
Sure.
IRL.
Give me a nature check.
Okay, that's not... Burke is not as good at nature as I am, I think. Oh, that's a 17 still. Okay.
So you can see a little bit of it. I mean, it's not densely packed and what have you, but there's There's definitely there's a little bit here and a little bit there that you could see. There's a trail this way and a trail that way that kind of take you to sections.
Okay.
You don't have to
So
speak with plants, do you?
I do. That's one of the things I wanted to do. So, Ted, you're familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, right?
Yes.
So you remember the episode with the swamp where he like touched the tree and then like saw things from really far away? Is that
I mean, loosely, it's been a while since I watched the cartoon one.
is that a way that speak with plants can work? Can I like look to see what's around in an area through the plants? Bleh.
Now, you usually speak with plants as you can have a conversation, and they have very very little knowledge, beyond their foot or two radius of space.
Okay.
But
Um,
here's an unsung feature of Speak with Plants. I just want to point out real fast. It is a great combat spell as well. Because it can make rough terrain around people with foliage. Alright, I'm done. Bye guys.
Let's see. I've never used it that way. I usually use it to make my DMs make up a voice for a plant.
It's a great combat spell, man. It's great.
Oh, you know what I could do? Yeah. How good is Hefty's sense of smell?
What's his perception score? I mean, he doesn't have anything that makes him extra better at perception as far as I'm aware.
It's just a 12. My passive perception's better than his. Um, okay. I'm sorry. I'm taking forever to try a thing. I have like too many options as a ranger. Cleric, druid. Can I just perceive or investigate in the area? Is that allowed? Or
Sure.
could I aid someone else who's better at it than me?
What is it that you're looking to do here?
I want to find some place we're not supposed to find. A secret door, something that's out of place, a wire where it's not supposed to be, or a projector. Anything that's gonna like give us a direction in the mountains.
Sure. So, I believe Nebula's got the best perception in the party. Is if somebody wants to do perception or investigation, I'll allow, either of that to happen.
Okay.
All right, I want to assist that.
16. Oh, wait, but
So-
with an assist.
That's it. So it would be at advantage.
17.
So you spend a decent amount of time, searching. And while it's not visible from down here, you decide to, head up into the actual mountains, and from making this turn away, you can see that there is indeed a cave within this place. And once you step in, everything begins to it begins to look off. It's not like you're seeing, the typical gray rocks and brown earth. You can see into the almost the purple ground, and there is a room that looks like it's set up for a game. Though it's not any kind of game that's in progress, but it's that same structure that I've been kind of describing. And you can see that there are a couple of screens. There is an orb that's kind of floating in the middle of the room. Do you step in?
I mean, yeah, what else are we gonna do?
Hmm.
Do you think it's a bad idea?
Well, so there's one interesting thing, right? So speak with plants. You imbue the plants within 30 feet of you with limited sentience and animation, giving them the ability to communicate with you. The spell lasts for 10 minutes. You're not casting it on the area, you're casting on yourself. So if you move, the 30 feet moves. So
Oh.
like if we think Ironbark is the power source and the power is being sent someplace, maybe the plants would be able to detect that if it's moving through the earth that they're rooted in. And like
Ooh.
maybe we can keep moving along, well, for 10 minutes anyway, and see if we can get any information, um, or some ability to like triangulate or something.
Yo, I literally opened a new tab, opened up Klaus, and then started reading Speak with Plants. I'm like, oh shit, it's better than I thought.
So
So,
now that we're here in the cave, are there mushrooms in the cave?
or
You don't
moss.
see any mushrooms.
Or lichen?
Like it starts off like just after a short distance of rock and earth, and it instantly changes into this alternate aspect. This
Okay.
black and purple floor with the fluorescent lighting. There's screens on the wall. It's not like you're going into an underground cave.
Okay. So does it look like the kind of place that's expecting people? Because, like, for example, right? Like, if I'm walking onto a movie set and they're not expecting to film right now, there might be like some ambient, like emergency floodlights or something. But generally, it's going to be pretty obvious that, like, most of the lights are off, most of the monitors are not turned to anything that's important. Does this place look like it's ready and set up to broadcast or otherwise
It is
welcome
not.
people in?
It is not.
Okay.
There are screens, but they are blank. There's a floating orb, but it's not doing anything beyond just floating there. Does not making any kind of noise. It's not, really doing anything.
Okay, then I want to take my one action, if I can, to cast a thing. I would like to cast a spell on Nebula,
Okay.
if she will be willing. I would like to cast non-detection on Nebula.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I will say, there's screens over there. I don't know if magic works on the internet or not, but if nothing else, they cannot see you doing this. And then the three of us can go wandering around and poking around away from you to give you a fair shot at doing what you do best.
Well, maybe if you cast invisibility on yourself too, then they can actually really not see you.
Oh, I'm going to do that to me, but I can only do it to myself.
That's okay.
I think you can upcast invisibility.
But non-detection specifically protects for 8 hours from any divination magic.
Yeah, but if you're saying use screens, right? And if we're thinking of screens in our terms, like maybe there's a camera that could see what's going on, so it's more important if you want her not to be detected, then she should not be detected all the way.
Oh, I see.
I think that would be more beneficial than one of us being invisible.
Yeah, I don't think I can turn other people invisible with this. Let me look. Draw on the power of nature. I
What do
can
you-
magically
what-
become invisible. I can't do it to others.
Oh, it's not an invisibility spell.
No, it's nature's veil.
Uh,
I can only do non-detection or Pass without trace. I can't do invisibility. I don't have invisibility.
What about our artificer?
Okay, I mean, I wish I could. I chose spells particularly suited for a game show, but if you're worried about a particular
And the bard doesn't have invisibility either.
No.
All right. Wait a minute. What about alter self or disguise self?
I want to see is even on my spell list. BRB.
Can we make you look like Tabitha, instead of Nebula? All right. What about a freaking disguise kit? Does anybody have a disguise kit?
Nope.
I mean, if you give me 10 minutes, I can technically magically make whatever.
But if you want, I
And
can.
I have makeup, but that's not the same thing.
I actually do have a disguise kit,
Ooh.
but I thought our spellcasters might have something.
I have.
You're asking a lot.
I can
I
cast
know.
Sanctuary on you if you want.
I mean,
It only lasts for a minute though.
I'll take my hand at a disguise.
like.
What kind of check do you want, Ted?
So I'm gonna have you roll 2 checks.
Okay.
I want you to roll a disguise kit with intelligence to see how well you remember Tabitha.
All right, for
And
precision.
You're gonna roll. Then you're gonna roll it for dexterity to see how well you can replicate that on Nebula.
I do have a
Okay.
question, Ted.
Yes.
So, like, if we in the real world have a camera on a screen, it looks like a webcam. Is there such a thing in this world?
So the camera that's been recording you guys has been a flying drone,
Uh-huh.
and it's usually from what you've seen has been invisible most of the time.
So I have a dirty 20 for my precision check.
Okay.
And for the application check, let's see. I think I gave my inspiration away.
Yes.
Anyone else have inspiration?
Nope, I gave mine away.
Alrighty then. That's a 7.
We're spending them
That's
like
a 7.
Yes.
All right.
My
So
memory is better than the steadiness of my hand.
the face looks good, but you don't have the materials to give Tabitha, the long flowy cloak that she typically wears.
Okay.
So that's where I think your 7 is going to come in. So you've got non-detection and a pretty cruddy Tabitha as you guys step into what appears to be some kind of either mini control center or what have you. And this is where we'll pick up next week for some more Dungeons and Delving as we get closer and closer to ending season 2.
Ah!
Sounds like a plan. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties, and thanks everyone.